I am not the president of a country. I do not hold an official title or a seat of power granted by a government. Yet I stand here today as the voice of a people, a voice that carries the hopes, the struggles, and the dreams of those who often go unheard. My name is Ibrahim Traoré, and to my global family, I bring a message born not from authority, but from the shared experience of humanity. Everywhere I look, I see people yearning for justice, equality, and peace. I see communities rising despite adversity, families holding on to hope in the face of hardship, and individuals determined to create a better tomorrow. I speak not for myself alone, but for those who cannot speak, for those whose voices have been silenced or ignored. I speak for the forgotten, the marginalized, and the resilient. My power does not come from laws or decrees. It comes from unity, from the strength found when we listen to one another and recognize our common humanity. It comes from the courage to stand up, to be heard, and to lift others up. In this global family, our differences are not barriers, but bridges that connect us. Though I am not a president, I carry the responsibility of representing the collective spirit of a people who refuse to be divided by borders or boundaries. I carry the stories of those who have been displaced, the voices of those fighting for their rights, and the dreams of those building a future on the foundation of hope and dignity. To my global family, I say this: our voice is powerful when we use it together. It does not require a title or a throne, only a heart committed to truth, justice, and compassion. Let us speak boldly, act wisely, and stand united. In doing so, we transform not only our own lives, but the world around us. I am not a president, but I represent the voice of the people, those who are often unheard and marginalized. I do not hold a seat of power granted by elections or laws, nor do I carry a title that commands official respect or authority. Yet I stand here with a responsibility that is no less significant: to speak on behalf of those whose voices have been silenced by circumstance, oppression, or neglect. These are the individuals and communities whose stories rarely make headlines, whose struggles are often invisible, but whose hopes and dreams are just as real and vital as anyone else's. I am their voice, not because I seek personal power, but because I believe in the power of unity and shared humanity. The people I represent are many. They come from all corners of the world, from places marked by conflict, poverty, or injustice. They are the displaced families forced from their homes, the workers who toil tirelessly yet receive little recognition or reward, the youth whose aspirations are stifled by lack of opportunity, and the elders whose wisdom is often overlooked. They are mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, neighbors and strangers. They are people who wake up every day hoping for a better future, even when that hope feels fragile. They are often marginalized, ignored, or treated as if their lives matter less. I speak for them because their stories deserve to be told, their pain acknowledged, and their potential embraced. My strength does not come from political office or military might. It comes from the conviction that when people come together, their combined voice can be louder and stronger than any official decree. The power I carry is the power of connection, the ability to listen, to understand, and to amplify the voices of others. I am reminded every day that no matter how different our languages, cultures, or backgrounds may be, our basic humanity unites us. When we recognize this shared human dignity, we find a common ground from which to build understanding, empathy, and solidarity. This unity is the foundation of the change we seek, and it is more powerful than any border or barrier. In speaking for the forgotten and the resilient, I carry their stories close to my heart. Their experiences are not simply tales of hardship. They are stories of courage, endurance, and hope. Many have faced unimaginable challenges: war, discrimination, displacement, or poverty. Yet they continue to dream, to fight for their rights, and to believe in the possibility of a better tomorrow. These stories inspire me and fuel my commitment to be their voice. I do not speak to give them pity or charity, but to honor their dignity and to call the world's attention to the need for justice and fairness. Their resilience reminds me that true power is not about dominance, but about perseverance and compassion. The world often tries to divide us by nationality, religion, race, or economic status. Yet I believe that our differences are not obstacles, but opportunities. Each culture, each perspective, each experience adds richness to our shared human story. Instead of allowing these differences to separate us, we must see them as bridges that connect us. When we listen to one another, when we open our hearts to understand different viewpoints, we build a world where diversity is celebrated rather than feared. This is the essence of the global family I speak to, a family not defined by geography or politics, but by shared values of respect, kindness, and justice. Being a voice for the people is a responsibility I carry with humility and determination. It means standing up for truth even when it is uncomfortable. It means speaking out against injustice even when it is risky. It means uplifting others, giving them strength and courage to face their challenges. It means being honest about the difficulties we face while also holding on to hope and the possibility of change. This responsibility is not mine alone. It belongs to every one of us who believes in fairness and compassion. Together, our voices become a chorus that can challenge inequality, inspire action, and create lasting transformation. To my global family, I say this: our power lies not in titles or positions, but in the collective strength of our voices united. When we come together, we transcend borders and boundaries, and our message becomes impossible to ignore. We can influence policies, change minds, and build communities based on justice and dignity. I am not a president, but I am a voice that carries the dreams, struggles, and hopes of many. And I believe that when we raise our voices together, there is no limit to what we can achieve. The world is listening, and it is time for us to speak boldly, stand firmly, and work tirelessly for the future we all deserve. I speak for the forgotten, the displaced, and the resilient who continue to hope and fight for justice. These are people whose lives are often overlooked, whose stories go untold, and whose struggles are unseen by much of the world. They are the ones left behind by systems that favor the powerful, the voices drowned out by noise and indifference. Yet despite being forgotten or ignored, they carry within them an unbreakable spirit, a determination to survive and to demand the dignity and rights that belong to every human being. My role is to bring their stories into the light, to remind the world that they are not invisible, and that their fight for justice is a fight that concerns us all. The forgotten are many. They are the children who grow up in neighborhoods where opportunities are scarce and violence is common. They are the elderly who live alone, forgotten by families caught up in their own lives or by societies that fail to provide care and respect. They are people marginalized because of their race, ethnicity, religion, or economic status. Their voices have been silenced by prejudice, discrimination, or neglect, and their dreams often remain out of reach. But even when forgotten, they do not lose their humanity. They long to be seen, to be heard, and to be recognized as equal members of society. I speak for them because their silence should not be mistaken for acceptance or consent. They deserve justice, and it is our collective responsibility to stand with them. The displaced carry a unique burden. They are forced from their homes by conflict, persecution, or environmental disaster. They leave behind everything familiar, homes, communities, memories, and embark on uncertain journeys towards safety and hope. Their displacement is not just a physical uprooting, but a profound emotional and psychological trauma. Many live in camps or temporary shelters, struggling daily to meet basic needs like food, shelter, and medical care. They often face hostility and suspicion in new places, compounding their hardship. Yet in spite of these challenges, displaced people hold on to hope. They envision a future where they can return home or build new lives with dignity and security. I speak for the displaced because their resilience is extraordinary and because the world must not turn its back on them. Their struggle is a call to action for justice and humanity. The resilient are those who refuse to be defeated by life's hardships. They are people who have faced loss, injustice, and oppression, but continue to rise with courage and determination. They rebuild their communities after war and disaster, fight for their rights in the face of repression, and create opportunities where none seem to exist. Resilience is not just about survival, it is about hope and resistance, about the belief that change is possible. This resilience inspires me every day. It reminds me that even in the darkest moments, human spirit shines brightest. I speak for the resilient because their stories of perseverance and hope are powerful reminders of what we can achieve when we stand together. Hope is the common thread that binds the forgotten, the displaced, and the resilient. Despite immense challenges, they hold on to the belief that a better world is possible. This hope drives them to fight for justice, to demand equality, and to seek peace. It is a hope that refuses to be extinguished by injustice or suffering. It is this hope that fuels movements for change around the world. I speak for those who hope, because hope is not naive. It is a courageous act of resistance against despair. It is a force that can transform societies and inspire generations. Fighting for justice is at the heart of the struggle of these people. Justice means more than legal rights or formal equality. It means recognition, dignity, and the chance to live a full life free from fear and discrimination. For the forgotten, justice means inclusion and the end of neglect. For the displaced, it means protection, safety, and the right to rebuild. For the resilient, it means the fulfillment of their efforts and the acknowledgement of their humanity. I speak for those who fight for justice because their battle is ongoing and urgent. Their fight calls on all of us to listen, to act, and to stand in solidarity. In speaking for the forgotten, the displaced, and the resilient, I also recognize that their struggles are interconnected. Injustice anywhere affects justice everywhere. The conditions that create displacement often arise from inequality and conflict that also cause marginalization and exclusion. Resilience emerges in response to these hardships, but it is not a substitute for justice. True change requires that we address the root causes of suffering and work collectively to build societies where every person is valued and protected. I speak not only to raise awareness, but to call for collective action, rooted in compassion, understanding, and a commitment to human dignity. To be their voice is to carry a heavy but vital responsibility. It means listening deeply to their experiences, amplifying their concerns, and refusing to let their stories be forgotten again. It means challenging the systems and structures that perpetuate injustice and inequality. It means standing in solidarity with those who suffer, knowing that their freedom and dignity are tied to our own. I speak for the forgotten, the displaced, and the resilient, because their voices matter, because their stories demand to be heard, and because together we can work toward a world where no one is left behind. I speak for the forgotten, the displaced, and the resilient, who continue to hope and fight for justice. These are the individuals and communities whose stories often go unnoticed by the world, whose struggles are hidden beneath layers of neglect and silence. They live in the shadows of societies that sometimes turn away, indifferent to their pain and plight. Yet despite being overlooked and marginalized, these people carry within them an extraordinary strength. A strength born from suffering, endurance, and an unwavering belief that a better tomorrow is possible. My voice rises for them to honor their existence, to share their stories, and to remind the world that their fight for justice is ongoing and must never be ignored. The forgotten are those whose lives have been pushed to the margins, dismissed as insignificant or burdensome by those in power. They are the poor and the homeless, the elderly abandoned by social systems that prioritize profit over people, the children denied education or a safe place to grow. They are individuals who have been silenced by history, neglected by governments, and overlooked by society's gaze. Despite this, they are not voiceless. Their experiences speak volumes about the failures of systems designed to serve everyone, but too often leave many behind. I speak for the forgotten because their invisibility is a call to action, a reminder that true justice cannot exist while any among us are disregarded or abandoned. The displaced are a particularly poignant part of this group, forced to leave their homes due to war, persecution, natural disasters, or economic hardship. They carry with them not just physical burdens, but deep emotional wounds. They face the daunting challenge of rebuilding lives in unfamiliar places, often encountering hostility and prejudice in the very communities where they seek refuge. Their displacement is not just a loss of geography, it is a loss of identity, security, and belonging. Yet, even in the face of such hardship, displaced people hold on to hope for peace, safety, and the chance to rebuild what has been lost. I speak for the displaced because their struggles expose the urgent need for compassion and justice on a global scale, reminding us that humanity must transcend borders and political divisions. The resilient are the ones who, despite all odds, refuse to be broken. They are the survivors of violence and oppression, the activists demanding change, the families who rebuild communities after devastation, and the youth who rise to challenge injustice in their societies. Resilience is more than endurance. It is a powerful statement of hope and resistance. It is the refusal to be defined by suffering or defeat. These individuals embody the spirit of perseverance, showing the world that even in the darkest times there is light to be found. I speak for the resilient because their courage inspires all of us to keep striving for justice, equality, and peace. Hope is the thread that binds the forgotten, the displaced, and the resilient. It is hope that sustains them through hardship and fuels their determination to fight for a better future. This hope is not naive or passive. It is active and courageous. It pushes them to organize, to protest, to demand change, and to build new possibilities where none seem to exist. Hope is the engine of social movements and the foundation of every struggle for justice. I speak for those who hope, because hope is the seed from which transformation grows, and without it, no meaningful change can happen. Fighting for justice means demanding more than mere survival or temporary relief. It means insisting on dignity, equality, and the fulfillment of basic human rights. Justice is about creating societies where no one is excluded or oppressed, where every person's voice matters, and where fairness is the rule, not the exception. For the forgotten, justice means being seen and valued. For the displaced, it means safe refuge and the opportunity to rebuild. For the resilient, it means recognition of their efforts and the removal of the barriers they face. I speak for those who fight for justice because their struggle is the heartbeat of a more just and compassionate world. Their stories are deeply interconnected. The forgotten often become displaced, and the displaced must be resilient to survive. Injustice in one place ripples through many lives, reminding us that no struggle exists in isolation. It is this interconnectedness that calls us to solidarity, to listen deeply, to learn, and to act alongside those who suffer. I speak not only to raise awareness, but to call for collective responsibility. It is only through shared commitment and compassion that we can address the root causes of injustice and build a world where all can live with dignity. To be their voice is to carry a profound responsibility. It requires empathy, courage, and persistence. It means speaking truth to power, challenging indifference, and refusing to let the world forget the humanity behind the headlines and statistics. It means amplifying the voices of those who cannot speak freely and ensuring their stories are told with respect and honesty. I speak for the forgotten, the displaced, and the resilient, because their lives matter, because their struggles are our struggles, and because their hope is a light that can guide us all toward a more just and peaceful future. Together, we must listen, act, and never cease in our pursuit of justice for all. Our differences should be seen as bridges that connect us, rather than barriers that divide us. Throughout history, people have often focused on what separates us, whether it be race, religion, culture, language, or beliefs, using those differences as reasons to create walls between communities and nations. These divisions have caused conflicts, misunderstandings, and mistrust, leading to suffering and injustice. Yet, if we look more deeply, we find that these differences, instead of isolating us, have the power to enrich our shared human experience and bring us closer together. When we choose to embrace diversity as a source of strength rather than fear, we build bridges that connect hearts and minds across all divides. Every individual carries a unique story shaped by culture, tradition, and life experiences. These differences give each person a distinct perspective and wisdom. When we recognize this diversity as a gift, we open ourselves to learning and growth. It is through the exchange of ideas, customs, and values that societies become vibrant and resilient. Imagine a world where every culture is respected, every language is valued, and every tradition is understood, not as strange or threatening, but as part of the rich tapestry of humanity. This is a world built on bridges rather than barriers, where connection replaces division, and mutual respect becomes the foundation of community. Too often, fear of the unknown or unfamiliar leads to prejudice and exclusion. When we encounter people who seem different from ourselves, it can be tempting to build walls of suspicion, walls of hatred, walls of separation. But these walls only serve to deepen misunderstandings and prolong conflict. They prevent us from seeing the common humanity that exists beneath surface differences. The truth is that beneath the external markers of identity, the language we speak, the clothes we wear, the food we eat, we all share the same basic needs, dreams, and emotions. We all want to live with dignity, to be loved and respected, and to have a chance at a better life. Recognizing this shared humanity is the first step toward building bridges. Building bridges means fostering dialogue and creating spaces where people can come together to listen and learn from each other. It means approaching differences with curiosity rather than judgment, with empathy rather than fear. When we engage openly with those who are different from us, we break down stereotypes and replace ignorance with understanding. This process requires courage because it often challenges deeply held beliefs and confronts uncomfortable truths. But it is necessary if we want to move beyond division and conflict toward cooperation and peace. Bridges also form through shared experiences and common goals. When people work together toward a purpose greater than themselves, they discover bonds that transcend differences. Whether it is fighting for justice, protecting the environment, or building a community, collaborative efforts unite us. These shared endeavors teach us that despite our varied backgrounds, we are interconnected and interdependent. Each person's contribution is valuable, and every voice matters. This sense of shared responsibility and collective action strengthens the fabric of society and fosters a spirit of solidarity. In our increasingly globalized world, the importance of building bridges has never been greater. Borders may separate us physically, but ideas, culture, and human connection cross those borders effortlessly. Technology allows us to communicate instantly across continents, exposing us to a diversity of thought and culture that previous generations could hardly imagine. This interconnectedness is a powerful opportunity to celebrate our differences and learn from one another. It is also a challenge because it requires us to confront prejudices and open our minds and hearts to others. Embracing this challenge is essential for creating a world where peace and justice prevail. Our differences also encourage creativity and innovation. When diverse perspectives come together, they spark new ideas and solutions that would not emerge in a homogeneous environment. This is true not only in the arts and sciences, but in everyday problem solving and community building. Diversity pushes us to think differently, to question assumptions, and to explore possibilities beyond the familiar. In this way, differences are not obstacles, but vital sources of strength and progress. It is important to remember that building bridges is not about erasing differences or forcing conformity. It is about honoring individuality while finding common ground. It requires respect for each person's identity and a willingness to accept that others may hold beliefs or practices different from our own. This respect does not mean agreement on everything, but a commitment to coexist peacefully and work together despite our differences. It is a recognition that diversity enriches us all, and that our world is stronger when we stand united in our diversity. Our differences become bridges when we choose empathy over fear, dialogue over silence, and cooperation over conflict. They become bridges when we listen deeply, seek to understand rather than judge, and recognize the humanity in every person we meet. These bridges connect us to one another, forming networks of compassion and solidarity that cross borders and boundaries. They build communities where everyone can belong, where diversity is celebrated, and where justice and peace can flourish. In a world that too often emphasizes division, I believe it is vital to remember that our differences are not what separate us fundamentally. Instead, they offer us the opportunity to connect more deeply, to learn more fully, and to live more richly together. By seeing our differences as bridges, we create a path forward, a path toward unity, understanding, and a future where every person's dignity is recognized and every voice is heard. This is the world I envision, and this is the work to which I dedicate myself. Being a voice means carrying the responsibility to uplift others and speak boldly for truth, justice, and compassion. It is not simply about making noise or drawing attention to oneself. Rather, it is about standing firmly in the service of those who need to be heard, those whose stories are ignored or silenced. To be a voice is to recognize that words carry weight and power. They can inspire hope, ignite change, and challenge injustice. And they can sometimes be as harmful as the cutthroat nature of the. But with this power comes a deep responsibility. The responsibility to speak with integrity, to represent others honestly, and to use that voice not for personal gain, but to uplift and empower those who are marginalized or oppressed. When I say being a voice means uplifting others, I mean that it involves actively listening to the experiences of people who face hardship and injustice. It means honoring their stories and perspectives, rather than speaking over them or for them without understanding. To truly uplift others is to create space for their voices to be heard, to amplify their concerns, and to ensure that their truths reach those who have the power to make a difference. It requires humility and patience, recognizing that the role of a voice is not to dominate, but to support and empower. In this way, speaking out becomes a collective act, rooted in solidarity and shared struggle. Being a voice also means speaking boldly for truth. In a world where misinformation and deception are often used to manipulate and divide, speaking truth is an act of courage and resistance. It means refusing to shy away from difficult realities or uncomfortable facts. Speaking truth demands honesty and clarity, even when the message is unpopular or threatens those in power. It requires the bravery to confront injustice directly and to challenge false narratives that harm vulnerable communities. To be a voice of truth is to be a beacon of light that cuts through darkness and confusion, guiding others toward awareness and understanding. Justice is another cornerstone of what it means to be a voice. Speaking for justice means advocating for fairness, equality, and the rights of every individual. It means recognizing the systemic inequalities that exist in our societies and actively working to dismantle them. Being a voice for justice is about standing with those who have been wronged, challenging laws and practices that perpetuate discrimination, and calling for policies that protect the most vulnerable. Justice is not a passive concept. It demands action, persistence, and an unwavering commitment to what is right. A voice committed to justice serves as a rallying cry for change, reminding us all of our shared humanity and the need to build a fairer world. Compassion is the heart of being a voice. Without compassion, words can become empty or even harmful. Compassion connects us to the pain and struggles of others, allowing us to speak not just with our minds, but with empathy and kindness. It softens the hard edges of confrontation and helps build bridges instead of walls. When we speak with compassion, we create space for healing and understanding. Compassion pushes us to listen deeply and respond not with judgment, but with care. It reminds us that behind every injustice, there are real people with hopes, fears, and dreams. Being a voice rooted in compassion means advocating for others with a genuine desire to alleviate suffering and promote dignity. Carrying this responsibility is not always easy. It requires resilience and strength, especially when facing opposition or indifference. Speaking out for truth and justice can attract criticism, threats, and isolation. Yet those who take on this role understand that silence in the face of injustice is complicity. They know that their voice can give courage to others and inspire collective action. Being a voice means standing firm in the face of adversity, knowing that the path toward justice is often difficult but necessary. It means persevering even when change seems slow or distant, because every word spoken in truth and compassion plants a seed for a better future. Furthermore, being a voice means recognizing that no one speaks for everyone alone. It involves collaboration and solidarity with communities and movements that are already fighting for their rights. A responsible voice listens, learns, and acts in partnership rather than assuming authority. It respects the leadership of those most affected by injustice and helps elevate their messages. This collective approach strengthens the impact of advocacy and ensures that it is rooted in the lived realities of those it aims to serve. Ultimately, being a voice is about hope and possibility. It is about believing that words can change hearts and minds, that speaking out can transform societies, and that together we can create a world where justice, truth, and compassion prevail. It is a call to action, a commitment to stand up for what is right, and a promise to never remain silent in the face of injustice. To carry this responsibility is a profound honor and a serious duty, one that shapes the course of our shared future. In embracing this role, I commit myself to using my voice wisely and courageously. I do so not for personal recognition, but to serve those who cannot speak for themselves, to stand with those who fight for justice, and to bring light where there is darkness. Being a voice means carrying the hopes and dreams of many, lifting them up with strength and compassion, and speaking boldly until justice is achieved. This is the responsibility I accept and the purpose that guides me. Together, as a global family, our united voice has the power to create real change beyond borders and boundaries. In a world often marked by division and conflict, it is easy to forget how deeply connected we all are, no matter where we come from or what language we speak. Yet when we come together, putting aside our differences, we form a collective strength that transcends geography, nationality, and culture. This unity is not just symbolic. It carries the potential to influence policies, transform societies, and bring about justice and peace in ways that no single voice or nation could achieve alone. Our shared humanity is the foundation of this power, and by embracing it, we can shape a future that reflects compassion, equity, and mutual respect. The idea of a global family speaks to something profound. The recognition that all people, regardless of origin, are part of one interconnected human community. This sense of belonging does not erase individuality or culture, but celebrates the diversity that enriches us all. When we see ourselves as members of a global family, we accept responsibility for one another's well-being. We understand that the struggles faced by people in distant lands are not distant problems, but our own. This awareness compels us to act, to raise our voices together, and to demand a world where everyone's rights are protected and where no one is left behind. A united voice from a global family can amplify issues that are often ignored or marginalized. When individuals and communities join forces across borders, they can bring attention to injustices such as poverty, displacement, climate change, and human rights abuses that affect millions worldwide. Alone, these problems may seem overwhelming and insurmountable, but together, our voices become a powerful force for awareness and accountability. International institutions, governments, and corporations cannot easily ignore a chorus of voices demanding change. The unity of purpose and solidarity strengthens campaigns for justice, pushes for reforms, and holds those in power responsible for their actions. The digital age has made this global unity more attainable than ever before. Social media, communication technologies, and the internet connect people from all corners of the globe, allowing for instant sharing of information, ideas, and movements. These tools break down barriers of distance and culture, enabling solidarity to form quickly and spread widely. We see how grassroots movements in one country inspire protests and advocacy in another. We witness how shared stories of injustice spark empathy and action worldwide. This interconnectedness is a testament to the fact that our collective voice is not bound by physical borders. It flows freely through the networks that link us all. However, true unity requires more than just shared words or online connections. It demands genuine understanding and respect. It calls for listening carefully to diverse experiences, acknowledging different histories, and recognizing the unique challenges faced by various communities. When we approach one another with openness and humility, we build trust and create a stronger foundation for collective action. This unity is not about uniformity or erasing differences, but about valuing diversity as a source of strength. Through collaboration, we learn from each other, adapt our strategies, and build inclusive movements that represent the voices of all, especially the most vulnerable. A global family united in voice is essential for tackling some of the most urgent challenges of our time. Climate change, for example, does not respect national boundaries. Its impacts are felt worldwide, especially by those who contribute least to the problem, yet suffer most from its consequences. When communities from different continents come together to demand climate justice, their unified voice pressures leaders to adopt policies that prioritize sustainability, equity, and the protection of future generations. Similarly, issues such as migration, inequality, and conflict require coordinated international responses, which can only be achieved through collective advocacy and cooperation. Our united voice can push for solutions that are fair, humane, and effective. Moreover, the power of a united global family extends to fostering peace and reconciliation. History has shown that divisions based on ethnicity, religion, or nationality often lead to violence and hatred, but when people from different backgrounds join hands and speak with one voice, calling for peace, their message transcends the boundaries that separate them. This solidarity can bridge deep divides, heal wounds, and open pathways for dialogue and understanding. By standing together against hatred and discrimination, we build a culture of peace, rooted in respect and shared humanity. It is important to recognize that this power does not come automatically. It requires effort, commitment, and courage. It means setting aside suspicion and prejudice, confronting injustice wherever it appears, and supporting each other through challenges and setbacks. It involves persistent advocacy, strategic collaboration, and the willingness to elevate the voices of those often unheard. But the rewards of this collective endeavor are immense. A world where justice is accessible to all, where human rights are upheld universally, and where compassion guides our actions beyond narrow self-interest. Together, as a global family, our united voice embodies hope and possibility. It is a reminder that despite the obstacles we face, we are not alone, and our collective strength can overcome even the most entrenched problems. Our unity is a testament to the enduring power of solidarity and the belief that a better world is achievable through cooperation and mutual care. When we raise our voices together, we send a message that resonates beyond borders and boundaries, that the future belongs to all of us, and we will work side by side to build it with justice, peace, and dignity for every human being. In embracing our role as a global family with a shared voice, we commit to standing with one another, to listening deeply, and to acting boldly. We recognize that change is possible when we move beyond division and unite in purpose. This unity is the key to unlocking a future where the ideals of freedom, equality, and human dignity are not just aspirations, but realities for all. Our united voice is the force that will carry us there.